Welcome to your Houston Rewind for October 16th through the 20th. I'm KHOU 11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. We know catching up on the news can be a little overwhelming in a city like Houston where it never seems to stop. So every weekend we take this opportunity to fill you in on some of the stories you may have missed. Let's rewind. A judge ruled Galveston County must redraw its redistricting map because it violates the Voting Rights Act. The judge said the map discriminates against Black and Latino voters, going so far as to call it jarring and shocking. Monday, Troy Kless talked to leaders impacted by the map.
For more than 20 years, voters of Precinct 3 chose Stephen Holmes to represent them. In 2021, a new map broke up a voting block of color.
What sums it up best would be the judge's ruling in one of the paragraphs. He said it was stark, it was jarring, it was shocking, and it was mean-spirited and egregious, what was done to Precinct 3.
Here was the benchmark plan that would have kept Precinct 3 a majority Black and Latino district. Instead, this map was adopted, which a judge found violates the Voting Rights Act.
This decade, when it came time to redistrict, they completely dismantled that one majority voters of color district and split up the populations into 4 majority Anglo districts.
Joaquin Gonzalez with the Texas Civil Rights Project agrees with the federal court's ruling. Galveston County Judge Mark Henry saying, quote, "The county followed redistricting laws and did not engage in any racial discrimination." But Commissioner Holmes says this redistricting process was different than years past.
And we had public meetings after hours, after work, when people could come and voice their opinion. This time we only had the one meeting where the maps were adopted in the middle of the day.
This photo from that meeting shows a community packed into a small room fighting for their rights.
It doesn't really hurt me as much because I'm the elected official, but what I think it hurts is the community, because what it does to the community is the Black and Latino community. It deprives them of the right to elect the candidate of their choice.
A choice he says belongs to the voters.
The county appealed the judge's ruling. Troy's calls and emails requesting to interview the county judge were not returned. In court Monday, one of 2 men accused of breaking into cars in lots around Minute Maid Park. Police say they were busted during an undercover operation and had more than half a dozen stolen guns and a whole lot of cash. Anna Yeli Ruiz shared a warning from officers.
It was a busy Sunday in downtown Houston. Thousands of fans were enjoying the Astros game. That's when police say these 2 suspects, 21-year-old Terry Emanuel and 23-year-old Jarek Thomas, were allegedly breaking into cars in several parking lots. Workers in the area did not want to show their face, but say they're not surprised.
We're experiencing a parking lot close by here, about 8 to 10 break-ins a month.
Police say the 2 suspects hit up parking lots on Dallas Street, Congress Street, and Charter Street. And it just so happened that HPD was conducting an undercover operation on vehicle burglaries at the same time. They received a vehicle description and found the car driving with its headlights off near one of the burglaries. Investigators say they tried to pull over the car, but Emanuel and Thomas managed to get out and take off running. Officers say while Emanuel was running, he dropped several guns. And after stopping them, they found $41,000 in cash and a purse.
Come out here and you see your window shattered. It's kind of disheartening.
This worker says his own truck was broken into 2 months ago outside of work, and he knows how painful it is to pay for the repairs out of your own pocket.
But even then, after everything, it was like $600.
And although he and others in the area are happy about the arrest, they hope more is done to protect those that are coming out here to have a good time.
What we need is more presence, really, and we need owners of parking lots to be more responsible instead of just, taking money and walking away. I mean, if you're going to be charging that much money, like at least have someone there watching over the vehicles.
HPD shared a message to fans, reminding them to secure valuables in their cars and leave firearms at home in a gun safe. Speaking of the Astros, they played Game 2 of the ALCS on Monday, and Sherman Chow was down at Minute Maid Park scoping out the fans.
All right, I'm here with 41,000 or so of our closest friends and fans. Everyone coming down to ALCS Game 2 wearing their Astros. Yeah, but you know, there's always some fans who take it to the next level. I want you to meet this couple right here. All right, what are your names?
Go Astros. Beverly Gill.
Matt.
All right, Beverly Gill and Matt. All right. I love these crowns. You ordered these on Amazon, right?
No, actually, I made them for the World Series last year. So, yes, it took me a week to make them. So,
there's something special, all right, and each one's sort of custom. What's going on in the back of them?
well, mine has, his has the 2017 trophy, so I designed it for that. and mine has 2022.
Oh, very nice. Where are you going to put 2023?
Well, 2023 is going to go with my daughter, and then when we win 2024, my other daughter's going to wear that one.
Right. She's
More tickets.
Yes, more
She's
tickets.
planning ahead. And wait a minute, I just don't want you to miss this. Check out the boots. The nails, and you guys got everything going. And see, now you can't miss anything
No, I can't.
coming your way, right?
I'll even catch a T-shirt from Orbit, hopefully.
She's ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Thanks a bunch. Okay, so if you're coming, you better be ready to dress to impress.
We have team coverage of the Astros ALCS run on our website. You can find it at khou.com/Astros. Tuesday, the family of a 79-year-old man celebrated a victory when Aldine ISD decided not to use eminent domain to claim his property. The district had planned to take Travis Upchurch's land to build more parking spaces for its football stadium. Maria Aguilera explained why his family pushed to keep the home.
A decision the Upchurch family and many people in the Aldine community were hoping for tonight. 79-year-old Travis Upchurch gets to keep the home that sits on land that has been in his family for 5 generations.
A big relief, and I know it's a relief for my kids too, because they put up with a lot of stuff.
Aldine ISD was considering using eminent domain to seize the property after he did not want to sell. The plan? Use the land for parking next to the new football stadium complex under construction. But tonight, the board changed its mind, shelving the idea of eminent domain.
It is a blessing, and so we are glad and we are at peace.
The family has been dealing with this for months, relieved it's finally over.
We don't know why they're moving forward now instead of August or September, but we're happy that we got the outcome that we are having tonight.
They've been to several board meetings speaking to trustees. They were here again tonight in a last effort to change their minds. Friends and strangers also spoke to show their support.
This should have never had been an issue in the first place.
I'm asking that you take no further action and end this ridiculous charade, which our community is overwhelmingly against.
And while the Upchurch family is happy with the board's decision, they'll feel better having it in writing.
We've been through a lot, and we kind of have trust issues at this point, so we want to make sure that we get something in writing and move forward with our lives.
Tonight, Mr. Upchurch gets to go back to the place where he grew up, a place his family has called home since the early 1900s.
It means a lot. I mean, the family's been right there for a long time.
The family told Maria this was a win for the entire Aldine community, saying they know people will stand up for them if they're ever in a similar situation. A new survey of Houston teachers out Tuesday shows they are strongly opposed to new policies in HISD. The policies came from Superintendent Mike Miles, appointed after the Texas Education Agency took over the district. Ron Trevino broke down the survey results.
As you may know, the Houston Federation of Teachers has been highly critical of the state takeover of HISD and the policies of the new superintendent appointed by the TEA, Mike Miles. Their survey it conducted in September echoes that. 1,115 HFT teachers and support staff responded. Here are some of the key issues they weighed in on. When it comes to scripted instruction at NES or new education system schools, 83% oppose or strongly oppose scripted lesson plans provided by an outside vendor. 94% say teachers should have more autonomy. As for teacher evaluations, 87% say they oppose or strongly oppose the pay for performance model, with teacher pay based largely on standardized test scores.
When you have those type of tests, you are just actually having teachers teach a test. And this is what happens when you have this pay for performance. They start to teach the test, and once that's over, what do have the children really learned?
The survey also asked teachers about libraries. 93% oppose or strongly oppose eliminating librarians at NES schools and turning libraries into detention centers. They were asked about HISD's open-door classroom policy. 92% say they were concerned that it makes classrooms less safe in the event of an emergency. The president of the Houston Federation of Teachers says educators are fed up with the changes and that they do nothing to help students thrive. We contacted HISD for a response, but we haven't heard back.
Teachers aren't the only ones with concerns. A Houston ISD mom reached out to KHOU 11, worried when she didn't see a crossing guard at her child's elementary school. Stephanie Whitfield uncovered hundreds of unfilled crossing guard jobs at the district.
This video shows a Houston ISD administrator helping kids cross the street at an elementary school.
So it was a bit chaotic, and we had parents who were stepping in trying to help.
Courtney Rupp says it's because there was no crossing guard the first day of school.
Within the first few days, when we knew that something was not right, when we knew something needed to be fixed, the text message communication started amongst parents. This is going to be a grassroots movement where we need to make noise.
The noise got the district's attention. She says there's still no crossing guard, but there is an adult at her kid's crosswalk every day. The Houston mom contacted KHOU 11, concerned this is an issue bigger than one school. And she was right. We've learned at the start of the school year, there were 206 open crossing guard positions. There are 160 elementary schools in the district. HISD says Cunningham Elementary and Oates Elementary had no crossing guards at all. This mom says that's unacceptable.
What is being done? Because we don't want to wait until a tragedy occurs, right? We want to know what is being done before that. Let's be proactive. Let's keep our kids safe.
The district sent us a statement saying HISD crossing guards are a vital part of getting students to and from school safely. We are actively recruiting crossing guards for many of our campuses. Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.
You know, Texans, go big or go home, right? Well, students at Oak Ridge High School and Conroe ISD got the message. They're working on what they hope will be a record-breaking homecoming mom. Anieli Ruiz showed us how the work's coming along.
They're working on something pretty big at Oak Ridge High School and Conroe ISD, a homecoming mom.
Let's make the world's largest one.
Yep, you heard right. They're trying to break the Guinness World Record for the biggest mum ever. But how big are we talking about?
Have it lifted by a crane.
It's a mum that's 25 feet in diameter with ribbons stretching over 150 feet long.
I heard about it over the summer, actually, right before school started. I heard it and I thought they were crazy.
The floral decor class and the welding class quickly jumped on board, but they had one big question.
How are we going to make this happen?
They started by drafting a plan, then they asked the community for donations.
It's a big group effort. Without the community and the students.
Because the two pieces of the mum are so big, they're going to have to travel in a flatbed trailer, and then a crane is going to have to lift them in the air.
I have a land surveyor there to shoot it and tell us exactly how long it is for the Guinness World Record.
And while topping the biggest mum so far will not be easy.
A couple weeks ago in Dallas was 290 square feet.
Oak Ridge High believes their mum has what it takes.
We're going to surpass that majorly. We're going to be way over 1,000. We're going to be closer to 2,000 square feet, I believe.
If you would like to see the big reveal, you can head to Wood Forest Stadium on October 27th. Anieli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
In case you're wondering what students are using to build the mum, flat bar, 1x1 tubing, tablecloths, and a whole lot of chicken wire. Just a reminder, you can learn more about homecoming mums in our KHOU 11 Plus documentary, Homecoming Mums, A Texas-Sized Tradition. It's streaming wherever you're watching this. Hundreds of protesters gathered at the Israeli consulate in Greenway Plaza Wednesday night, then marched through the streets. Devon Roming took us along as the protest briefly blocked traffic and made a whole lot of noise.
It's what some are calling an emergency mobilization.
Lots of emotion in the crowd today.
Protesters gathered outside the Israeli consulate with chants to free Palestine and voicing frustration as the Israel-Hamas war rages on.
The Palestinian people have endured a multi-decade occupation, meaning they're under military occupation, and under international law, they have a right to resist that occupation.
The group of protesters eventually marching into the streets as night fell in Houston.
Every time we show up here, every time it gets news coverage, the people of Gaza and the people of Palestine know that we're here and they keep fighting.
Fighting for an end to what they call a decades-long occupation of Gaza.
If we want to actually address the root cause of the violence, we have to address the occupation. We have to address the denial of human rights, the right to movement, the right to education, the right to health care.
It's our responsibility as people in the diaspora, as people in Houston, as colonized people of the global South, to come out and show our support for Palestine and to demand an end to the siege on Gaza.
We have more coverage of the Hamas-Israel war and its impact on Houstonians on KHOU.com. Wednesday, Houston's police chief delivered some encouraging news about crime in the city. Chief Finner shared that violent crime is down more than 9% from this time last year, with murders down nearly 18%. Robberies and aggravated assaults are down too. Adam Bennett learned nonviolent crime also saw a 4% drop.
We pledge, bro. No guns, bro.
As students at Houston's Worthing High School signed pledges promising to end gun violence.
And I want to be part of the help, part of the future.
Mayor Sylvester Turner said the city is heading in the right direction, with a 17% drop in shootings so far this year compared to this time last year.
We all acknowledge that if one person is victimized by crime, it's one too many.
Today at City Hall, Police Chief Troy Finner credited frontline officers with reducing crime in Midtown and the Bissonnette corridor. He also said 5 federal prosecutors sent to Houston have disrupted 3 or 4 major gangs.
We are laser focused on that, and we're just starting, okay? That's gonna yield some big results. When those individuals know that they're gonna get federal time, almost day for day, that's a heavy bat we swinging.
However, reported rapes were up nearly 2%. And auto theft rose more than 15%.
I mean, it's ridiculous the number of car break-ins we have in the city of Houston.
Police Union President Doug Griffith says it's usually criminals looking for guns. Around 3,000 have been stolen from vehicles this year, including near Minute Maid Park this week. Police officials are urging gun owners to store their weapons in safes.
When they see that Glock sticker on the back or the Sig Sauer sticker on the back or, Second Amendment sticker, stuff like that, that's a target for them.
Still, Griffith says the overall crime numbers show the impact of a criminal court backlog clearing and hard work by officers despite short staffing.
Our biggest issue moving forward is going to be recruitment and retention.
One more note from that report, Houston police say vehicle pursuits are also down 40% in the last 30 days, ever since the department amended its policy following a string of crashes. Is Houston going in the right direction? That's the question a survey asked likely voters to find out what issues Houstonians care about most. Victor Jacobo dug into the results with the mayoral election just weeks away.
According to the survey, 51% of likely voters say Houston's headed in the wrong direction, and 49% say the city is going in the right direction, a virtual even split when you consider the margin of error of plus minus 3%. But digging deeper into the numbers, there are stark differences depending on demographics and political affiliations.
Democrats and African Americans think things are going very well in the city of Houston. Whites and Republicans think it's going pretty badly, and Latinos are like the general population, split right down the middle.
The survey also asked a poll of 800 likely voters what they believe is the most important problem facing Houston today. Crime led the way with 46%, economic inequality followed with 11%, and rising property taxes at 10%.
Crime is the major issue that all candidates have to address front and center, because that is the one issue that all Houstonians with overwhelming majorities believe is a problem and want to see addressed.
Other hot-button issues were further down the list for survey participants.
Homelessness and affordable housing is a good example. That may be a high priority issue for the population at large, but it's not as salient an issue for a majority of likely voters.
Survey organizers say crime as an issue priority for voters is being reflected in candidate messaging and could determine who takes over at City Hall next year.
The mayoral candidate who can best effectively appeal to voters concerned about crime is going to be the one that's most likely to win.
Early voting for Houston mayor and several statewide propositions starts Monday. Wednesday, students across the country, including hundreds here in Houston, took a pledge against gun violence. Michelle Choi reported from the first Houston area school to be involved.
Yeah, this is a pledge students all over the country sign every year on what's known as the Day of National Concern. But I'm told it's the first time a Houston area school has joined.
We pledge, bro. No guns, bro.
No gun violence.
No guns.
I Pledge is a voluntary promise students make to themselves and to their community to end gun violence.
It only takes that one student to make the commitment to say, I'll put the gun down, or I'll think twice before I pick the gun up, or I'll stay away from the guns.
Tony Cormier is the Texas state lead of the Voices of Black Mothers United, a national group of mothers who've lost their children to violence. She's also the founder of a local nonprofit, A Papa's Hand, which she named in honor of her son, who she says was killed by gun violence last year.
No mother should experience what I experienced.
Tony says her pain propelled her to advocate for gun safety. Her mission is to work with as many schools and students as possible to raise awareness about gun violence, starting with Worthing High School.
I met with HPD, I met with Harris County Sheriff's Department, and my research found that this particular zip code, the Sunnyside area in Houston, has the highest rate of gun violence.
Violence, as some students here say they've personally been affected by, including 17-year-old Khalees.
I lost a lot of family members, friends due to gun violence.
Maria Mendez, a junior, also took the pledge.
As a Mexican American, I see everything that goes around in this community at Sunnyside, and I want to be part of the help, part of the future to help make our communities much more better and safer than they are right now.
A pledge these students say they'll honor to reverse the violence and grow up in safety.
If it means just signing a pledge to end gun violence, I would do anything to help.
Yeah, Tony, the pledge event organizer you heard from, she says Worthing High School is just the beginning. She hopes to expand to more schools in the future.
Thursday, state lawmakers questioned the developer of Colony Ridge and heard from the head of DPS about crime in the Liberty County development. Governor Greg Abbott placed the topic on the special session agenda after some conservatives claimed the area is a hub for undocumented immigrants and cartel members. The developer told lawmakers he's done nothing wrong. Adam Bennett recapped the testimony for us.
Nearly 3 hours from Liberty County, state lawmakers in Austin spent nearly 3 hours discussing the development there that's drawn national headlines.
I mean, what created us being here today?
I don't know.
John Harris is CEO of Colony Ridge. He told state lawmakers he's followed the law while building out a development that's now grown to an estimated 40,000 plus residents.
There's obviously been pushback, and I think that's where a lot of the complaints have come from. Neighbors, not necessarily county officials.
Texas DPS Director Steve McCraw denied reports that Colony Ridge is a no-go zone for law enforcement. He said DPS sent in special agents to do covert operations.
The numbers were pretty paltry in terms of the impact that we had because we didn't detect much criminal enterprise activity. There was some.
Sheriff Bobby Rader told lawmakers crime in Colony Ridge is not disproportionately higher than in other parts of Liberty County.
Yes, there are cartel members out there. Have they given us a problem? No, they have not. Cartel members, as I said, they're being monitored by the federal agencies. They give us information. As far as I can find out from my chief and my captain of CID, there have been no cartel arrests for crimes in Liberty County in the last 3 years.
TCEQ officials told lawmakers the agency finished 45 environmental investigations in Colony Ridge and have 28 more ongoing. The agency took 32 enforcement actions so far, which it says were not uncommon to new developments. State lawmakers ended Thursday's discussion without taking any action. A high-level City of Houston employee is under investigation after KHOU 11 Investigates started asking questions about a side job he works in the private sector. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogalski discovered the man was caught not once but twice tampering with government documents, yet he still holds a city job making six figures.
The assistant director of Houston's wastewater operations has a lot of responsibilities. The executive level position oversees and manages all of the city's treatment plants and lift stations and must ensure compliance with federal and state regulations. For that, Raymond Ramdeo earns more than $145,000 a year.
The higher you go up in the organization, it's more important than ever to be honest, to have integrity, to be ethical, and to comply with the rules and the laws.
UH professor James Thurman is a former city manager for 3 Texas cities. And when we showed him what we found about Assistant Director Ramdeo,
the city needs to be concerned. Of course, the public needs to be concerned.
That's because of Ramdeo's side gig at this vehicle inspection shop on Houston's northeast side, a job he didn't disclose as city policy requires. Texas DPS caught Ramdeo falsifying inspections when he used the electronic connector of one vehicle to enable another vehicle to pass the emission test 53 times. Last November, DPS suspended his license for 6 months. And it wasn't the first time this city inspector got in trouble at his extra job. Records showed DPS did an undercover sting here back in 2008 and criminally charged Ramdeo for passing an inspection without proof of insurance. Court records show Ramdeo pleaded guilty to felony tampering with a government record and got deferred adjudication, a form of probation.
And that has relevance for a higher management job.
Professor Thurman says it comes down to an issue of trust.
If they have that bad behavior on the private, in their private side, you wonder, it raises doubts in your mind on the public side.
Mr. Ramdeo, Jeremy Rogowski with KHOU.
When we tried to get an explanation,
can we chat with you, sir, about your violations?
Raymond Ramdeo had nothing to say. Now, it's important to note Ramdeo did disclose his deferred adjudication on a promotion application, but it's unclear if the city ever followed up. Now, Houston Public Works says it's asked the Office of Inspector General to investigate. Jeremy's story started with a tip from a viewer, just like you. If you need something investigated, call us at 713-521-4357 or email investigates@khou.com. We're about a month out from Thanksgiving, which means it is almost time for the 74th annual HEB Thanksgiving Day Parade. Thursday, the city announced its Grand Marshal to lead the parade, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner. But as Troy Kless found out, he won't be alone.
Downtown streets will be decorated soon.
You are always surprised, delighted with what you see. The performances are incredible.
With the colors of floats, costumes, and festive entertainment for the Thanksgiving Day Parade, Susan Christian is the city's parade producer.
Spectacular floats, huge, tall floats. They may go up 30 to 40 feet, and then they may expand out 25 feet.
She says there will be 5 new floats, 18 balloons, and 7 marching bands, and the Grand Marshal, a leader of the city.
Well, number one, they surprised me with the Grand Marshal announcement. But look, this is the 74th HEB Thanksgiving Parade. I think it's going to be the best ever. And it is about being very thankful.
Mayor Sylvester Turner says the parade represents the city's diversity and inclusion, with the Texas Southern University's Ocean of Soul, the lead band, plus 6 high school bands. And 5 new floats means Houstonians could be in for a surprise this year.
There may be something to do with, perhaps Barbie or some other kind of float like that. I don't want to give everything away because we can't, right? We can't because we want everyone to be really excited.
The parade is going to follow the traditional route through downtown, and it's going to happen rain or shine with thousands of people expected to attend. If you'd rather watch from the comfort of your home, KHOU 11 makes it easy. We'll be broadcasting the parade with Deborah Duncan and Ron Trevino. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo doesn't start until February, but it is top of mind for dozens of Texas students who are already competing to show there. The road to the rodeo started here for 20 teams of welders from high schools all over Texas.
We have schools from Wink, Texas, which is up by Midland. They drove 8 hours to be here. We have schools from San Antonio, from East Texas, West Texas, and even here in the Houston area.
They made the trip to Houston to compete in the inaugural trailer build-off, hosted by the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Ag Mechanics Committee. This is the same committee in charge of the tractor technician and ag mechanics contests during the rodeo. It really focuses on teaching kids trades.
Not everyone's going to go to college, and there's another avenue where you can make a great living, because we've seen a need in the industry where we need more welders, more electricians, more pipe fitters, carpenters, plumbers, and we're trying to provide an avenue where they can showcase what they can do and compete and be ready to go in the workplace.
This competition gave students the opportunity to hone their welding skills, working together to build a 5x10 trailer in 8 hours.
It's a lot to do in 8 hours. We do start with a kit, so a lot of the stuff is already cut, but to make sure that everything's square, that your welds are on point, that your skill set is ready for this competition, it does take a lot of work and a lot of preparation.
We want them to learn how to read drawings, how to look at a project, and see, go from the blueprint to actual building of a project, and see their work, notice the challenges, and being able to adapt.
They don't get that at school. They've always got somebody there telling them what to do and how to do it. Here, they don't have that. So they have to work as a team and really work through what they're doing.
Some had to work through more than others.
They're working through things.
But ultimately, there are no losers because everyone drives away with the trailer.
That's exactly right. And everybody is going to drive away with the trailer, and they're also going to go away with the skills that they have learned here today.
Not to mention all the prizes loaded onto these tables.
A lot of big name industry people out there that have donated a lot of prizes out here for these kids to take back with them to further their skills.
And the contest is not over yet. The teams took the trailers back to their schools where they're going to paint them and wire them before bringing them back to be part of the Ag Mechanics contest at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in March. Early voting starts Monday, and Houston mayoral hopefuls made their last pitches on Thursday. The next morning, Victor Jacobo caught us up on what the candidates said.
The debate, hosted by Houston Public Media and Univision, covered a number of topics from the economy, infrastructure, housing, and more.
We could use DPS to complement HPD under HPD's direction.
But the night started with the top issue for likely voters.
Start by getting more people in the street and into the substations.
How to tackle crime in Houston.
We should hire more civilians to do the jobs that right now police officers are doing that are civilian work.
A recent survey found a majority of likely voters support initiatives like hiring hundreds more HPD officers.
I can get you 500 more police by being a fiscal conservative on the budget.
In regards to how we're going to pay for it, we have a revenue cap. Educate the public so that way it can go back on the ballot, and it will be up to the voters to decide if they want to repeal the revenue cap.
Sheila Jackson-Lee was not in attendance due to the House Speaker business in Washington, D.C., but she sent KHOU a video statement.
I want us to be smart in crime fighting, which includes more officers, but it also includes violence intervention programs.
We spoke with candidates after the debate.
So we're just going to keep talking about the issues that people care about. Don't be distracted by attacks.
I'm hoping there's a solid majority out there. We need to elect someone that can start on day one.
And asked how they're feeling heading into the final stretch of the campaign.
I think momentum is shifting for all of us. I think the two main candidates have been the main candidates for some time, but I think people are getting tired of the same old answers from the same old candidates.
The momentum is in our direction because we haven't had a balanced budget, and I've done it before. I've done it for many years.
I'll still be working until the last poll closes November 7th.
There's so much that we can work on together. I'd like to be the mayor that takes Houston into the future.
In Houston, Victor Jacobo, KHOU 11 News.
During this Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a Houston woman wanted to share her story as a previvor. She sat down with Kimberly Davis to share the proactive steps she took to fight breast cancer.
Life looks different for Michelle Smith. She had a choice to determine her future or allow the future to decide her fate. Michelle chose the former.
Breast cancer previvor is someone who elects to have a prophylactic bilateral double mastectomy before diagnosis.
Michelle Smith is a breast cancer previvor. Her grandmother died from breast cancer and her mother has survived it twice. Now a mother herself of a toddler. In September of 2022, at the age of 41, Michelle learned that her risk of developing breast cancer was high. After many conversations with God, a year and a half later, she made peace with a difficult decision.
I took out all my breast tissue in advance because my risk factor of getting breast cancer was extremely high.
Michelle needed 2 surgeries to complete the prophylactic bilateral double mastectomy.
The first surgery was to spare my nipples. So that's another thing that is not widely talked about, but in the breast cancer community, it's common.
Once a patient is diagnosed with breast cancer, the nipples must be removed to prevent cancer from spreading through the nipples. The same goes for lymph nodes, which Michelle also kept.
The second surgery, which was the true mastectomy, in which they took out all my breast tissue.
It took Michelle about 6 weeks just to feel okay after the second surgery.
When you have prophylactic bilateral mastectomy is you lose the feeling in your breasts because they've taken out all your nerve endings.
Michelle tells me doctors removed any area cancer would be able to build up in her chest.
But I'm okay with that because it saved my life.
After testing the breast tissue that was removed, Michelle's oncologist found a massive amount of precancerous cells hiding in a milk duct.
When it's hiding in a milk duct, that means that it can grow, and then by the time it comes to surface, you're already about stage 3.
Not only did the oncologist tell Michelle that she made the right decision, but that she made it at the right time.
I'll take all the scars and my incision scar, I'll take all of that and I'll do it again to know that I saved my life.
This time of year, a lot of people are looking for something a little spooky. Maybe it's a scary movie or a haunted house, but a hidden gem near Huntsville draws crowds too. I always know a shoot is going to be interesting when even the daytime drive there starts to feel spooky. So on the first Friday of October, as I drove down Bowdoin Road while the sun set, I got the feeling something was waiting for me.
We are here at Martha Chapel Cemetery at Demons Road.
There was definitely someone waiting. This is Angela Kotz, host and producer of the show Ghost Hunting Beauties.
I'm a huge fan of Selling Sunset and I love ghost shows, so Selling Sunset meets ghost hunting, I mean, we had to do it.
Showing me around the cemetery, she pointed out its namesake.
Martha Palmer is buried right here next to the old chapel. So the old chapel is kind of dilapidated, worn down, but they have redone her headstone, so you can see Martha Palmer right here. You see people still bring her flowers and pay their respects to her.
As you can tell from the state of the chapel and some of the stones, this cemetery is an old one, dating back to the Robinson settlement of the 1830s. It was a peaceful place of rest for 150 years until around 1985.
The sheriff's department said, look, you know, what is going on out here in the cemetery? And the rumors were that there were animal sacrifices, cults, a lot of strange things happening out here. They had to run them off. So they said they were conjuring up demons, hence the name Demons Road. There are a lot of children spirits here. Now, one of the main children spirits is going to be the boy on the tricycle. Now, not just one person has seen him. Hundreds of people have seen this little boy.
Others report seeing a faceless man on the road, or 2 eyes peering at them from the forest.
You can't help but come here and feel like someone's watching you. When you pull up, there's no sound.
The silence was the most unsettling part of my mostly daytime visit. No birds whistling, no leaves crunching, no crickets chirping. It was absolutely quiet until I got ready to leave.
It gets way scarier after dark.
That was my cue to head out. If you really want to see what happens in the dark along Demons Road, you can watch Ghost Hunting Beauties. We have the show linked at khou.com/hidden gems. Or you can pay the cemetery a visit yourself.
I say anyone coming out here, be safe, be smart, be respectful. Don't stir up something you don't want, because Demons Road is definitely not something to mess with. It's definitely something you might want to explore, but don't want to mess with.
If you're into all things spooky, check out our Spooky Spaces playlist on the KHOU11 YouTube channel. You can explore haunted houses, ghost tours, and more. Hope that helped you catch up on this past week and you're ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our free KHOU11 Plus app on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Have a great week.